Former President Bill Clinton is not holding back. A day after his wife, the former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, went on the offense, calling out Donald Trump and saying, let's talk about the Epstein files in public. Hillary Clinton's in the files exactly 0 times, where we've talked about the references to Melania. Donald Trump's in the files, about 38,000 references. There's more references to Donald Trump in the Epstein files than there is Harry Potter in the Harry Potter 7 books. Well, now former President Bill Clinton is saying, let's do this. I want to testify publicly about Epstein, about the Epstein files. This is the fight you wanted, Donald. This is the fight you wanted, MAGA Republican James Comer. Let's do it. Put me in front of the world, cameras on, swear me in under oath, and let's have that conversation. Let's talk about it transparently. And then you have Trump and then James Comer. They're like, no, we can't do anything in public right now. We prefer smearing you in state regime media and on other appearances, but let's not do this in public. And let me be honest where I stand on this issue. I've got a lot of questions that I think that Bill Clinton needs to answer for, and I think it's a good thing that he wants to testify under oath. Anybody who's in those files in ways that I think are grotesque should have to testify publicly. And Bill Clinton's saying he's going to do it. And here's what former President Bill Clinton posted. Let me tell you what he just wrote. He goes, I have called for the full release of the Epstein files. I have provided a sworn statement of what I know. And just this week, I've agreed to appear in person before the committee. But it's still not enough for Republicans on the House Oversight Committee. Now Chairman Comer says he wants cameras, but only behind closed doors. Who benefits from this arrangement? It's not Epstein's victims who deserve justice, not the public who deserve the truth. It serves only partisan interests. This is not fact-finding. It's pure politics. I will not sit idly as they use me as a prop in a closed-door kangaroo court by a Republican Party running scared. If they want answers, let's stop the games and do this the right way in a public hearing where the American people can see for themselves what this is really about. MAGA's objecting to that? Donald Trump is objecting to that? Isn't that what you want? And now that you have it, you want to do it in private so that the American people can see it live? Do it public. And then you have former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. The day before Bill Clinton wrote that, she wrote, for 6 months, we engaged Republicans on the Oversight Committee in good faith. We told them what we know under oath. They ignored all of it. They moved the goalposts and turned accountability into an exercise in distraction. So let's stop playing the games. If you want this fight, James Comer, the MAGA Republican who runs the House Oversight Committee, which is really the cover-up racket for Donald Trump, let's have it in public. You love to talk about transparency. There's nothing more transparent than a public hearing. Cameras on. We will be there. And as I've said before, these MAGA Republicans are just covering up child sex trafficking rings. The cabal is right there on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. It's right there with all of the references and the grotesque allegations right there. I know the Clintons want to go and talk about it. I'll tell you what happens when Melania was asked questions about it. She goes, I am not here to talk about any of this. I do not want to, I'm not sure I do the accent. I'm not sure I wanted to. I'm not sure why you're asking me here. I just brought Israeli hostages back in order to promote my movie Melania that I'm being funded $75 million by Jeff Bezos for while he cuts the Washington Post by half. So what are you upset about me for? And then you've seen this clip, right? You have James Comer, House Oversight Committee, MAGA Republican. So when he's asked on state regime media, so the Clintons are ready to go. They're ready to testify publicly. Comer, is that good for you? And Comer's like, well, why would we do that in public for? Why would we do that there? We're going to do it there. We're going to do it in private rooms. Why would we do it? Transparency means we do it privately. It's so stupid. Here, play this clip of James Comer. Let's play it.
All right. She wants to tell you how to do your job. You're saying no. No, look, she has moved the goalposts millions of times throughout this entire process, then fires out an email attacking me today, accusing me of moving the goalpost, and she's the one who's tried to move the goalpost again. She agreed to a standard deposition. The deposition will be made public. So what she's asking for is already going to happen. The deposition will be videoed. You'll have the audio and a transcript. Everyone in America will have access to it. Every deposition I've ever done in the 3 years I've been chairman of the House Oversight Committee, we have released the transcript and the video and the audio. So what she's asking for is already going to happen. But what she really wants, Sean, is a committee hearing. And everyone that's ever watched a committee hearing in Congress, including the one in the House this week with the Treasury Secretary, knows that committee hearings are more for entertainment than substance. The deposition is for substance. This is a serious investigation. The purpose of the investigation is to get justice for the victims and to figure out why the government failed the victims and who the bad guys were and if they can be held accountable. So this is about the victims. This isn't about the Clintons. The Clintons are trying to play the victim cards. The victims of Epstein are the victims, not the Clintons.
And then James Comer says, let me explain what's going on. This is a serious investigation, okay? We're not trying to do theatrics here in the House of Representatives. We're keeping it private. What can you learn from hearings in public? You don't learn anything from hearings in public. This is what he's really going with. Let's play it.
The deposition is for substance. This is a serious investigation. The purpose of the investigation is to get justice for the victims and to figure out why the government failed the victims and who the bad guys were and if they can be held accountable.
By the way, Hillary Clinton shouldn't have to be deposed at all. She's not even mentioned anywhere. I just want to be clear about that. Melania is mentioned, right? Melania is in emails with Ghislaine Maxwell calling her G. October 23rd, 2002, Melania says, "Hey G, how are you? Nice story about Jeffrey Epstein in New York Magazine." That's the story where New York Magazine quotes Donald Trump as saying Epstein likes girls on the younger side. Great story. You look great in the picture. Then they're like, plan, like, let's hang out. And then Ghislaine kind of disses Melania. And it's like, sweet pea. Sweet Pea, that was Ghislaine's nickname for Melania. I'm not making this up. Ghislaine's nickname for Melania was Sweet Pea. Melania's nickname for Ghislaine was G. And Ghislaine goes, Sweet Pea. Thank you for your message, Sweet Pea. Actually, plans changed again. I'm on my way back to New York. I leave again on Friday. So I still don't think I have time to see you, sadly. Do you see? It's like dissing Melania. I'm a little bit too busy for you, Melania. I know you want to hang out with me, but I'm too busy doing what I'm doing, okay? Then we know what Donald Trump said when he was asked about, well, you know, former President Clinton says he wants to testify publicly. How does that make you feel? And Donald Trump's like, actually, I'm not sure why they're going after him for. Why are they going after former President Clinton? Here, play this clip.
NBC News broke the story today. I don't know if you saw it, that the Democrats are already saying, if you bring President Bill Clinton and he has to testify, we're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, you know, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me indicted many times. Many times.
And the president had some surprising thoughts about former President Bill Clinton.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood me. You know, he was the one that said very famously that you don't want to run against Trump when there were 18 people. There was 18 people, including me, total. And he kept telling them, you don't want to run against Trump. Run against anyone. Don't run against Trump. And Hillary sort of laughed at him.
I mean, by the way, do you all remember that Donald Trump was like a Bill Clinton fanboy back in the day? Like, I don't think people realize that Donald Trump loved Bill Clinton and loved Hillary Clinton and would speak so highly of them back in the day. But then for Donald Trump, when it was like, well, you know, I could co-opt the Republican Party, take it over. I'm just going to say, lock these people up and I'll trash them. But like, let me show you. This is what Donald Trump said in 2008 about the Clintons. This is real. This is what Trump said in 2008. Let's play this clip right here.
Well, I think her history is far from being over. I'd like to answer that question in another 15 years from now. I think she's going to go down at a minimum as a great senator. I think she is a great wife to a president. And I think Bill Clinton was a great president. You know, you look at the country then, the economy was doing great. Look at what happened during the Clinton years. I mean, we had no war. The economy was doing great. Everybody was happy. A lot of people hated him because they were jealous as hell. You know, people get jealous and they hate you. People don't like him because they're jealous of him. But Bill Clinton was a great president. I mean, I hope we can be so lucky in terms of the economy and in terms of other aspects. I mean, we weren't in wars with two nations. I'm not blaming Afghanistan, by the way, is probably a place that we should be. Iraq, we shouldn't be. Bill Clinton was a great president. Hillary Clinton is a great woman and a good woman.
You said of Hillary Clinton that she was, quote, pretty badly abused during her presidential campaign. Why did you say that? I
thought that they roughed her up pretty good. I think she's a wonderful woman. I think that she's a little bit misunderstood. You know, Hillary's a very smart woman, very tough woman. That's fine. But she's also a very nice person. And I know Hillary and I know her husband very well. They're fine people. I thought, and you know, part of that is a rough political battle. I thought she was roughed up. I thought she, and I'm not knocking the other side. You know, you want to win a battle. So if it gets a little bit nasty, it is politics, and politics is a tough game. But I thought she was perhaps unnecessarily roughed up. She took some pretty hard hits.
You know, and look, I think the House Oversight Committee has a lot to investigate. I'll tell you one of the things I'd want the House to investigate right now. With the information that we learned about the newly released video logs that contradict official accounts of who entered Epstein's cell on the night that he died. CBS reported a document in the Epstein files showed investigators flagged an orange-colored figure on jail surveillance video moving towards Epstein's locked housing tier around 10:39 p.m. on August 9, 2019. Despite earlier official assurances that no one entered the area that night, the FBI observation memo describes an image possibly as another inmate, while the DOJ Inspector General's review treated it as a correction officer. There was somebody else in the room. You see it in the photo right there. Around 3 weeks before Epstein died, he was discovered semi-conscious in his cell with injuries to his neck. He told guards that a guy named Nicholas Tartaglione, did it to him and attempted to strangle him before withdrawing the complaint against Nicholas Tartaglione. Who is Nicholas Tartaglione? Epstein's cellmate. Nicholas Tartaglione believes that the Trump regime wanted Epstein dead, and that's why they were putting Tartaglione with Epstein, because he's saying they wanted me to kill him. Let me just repeat that. Epstein's cellmate, who's believed to have strangled Epstein 3 weeks before Epstein died, said that he believed the Trump regime, this is what he just put a declaration out there this past week, that said he believed he was put there to kill Epstein, essentially, by the Trump regime. So this guy, Tartaglione, is a quadruple murderer, former police officer, and in this pardon petition, which seems like it's, in my opinion, a shakedown of Donald Trump, said that Epstein was deliberately exposed to violence and hoped that he would not survive long enough to stand trial. And Tartaglione says, why else would you put me there? Everybody knows, Tartaglione said, that he would kill anybody who was a child sex trafficker. And he was a quadruple murderer. And Epstein was a high-profile prisoner in the New York prison. So he's like, why would you put Tartaglione with Epstein unless you wanted Tartaglione to kill Epstein? Like, the arrangement was set up to have Epstein murdered, basically, is what Tartaglione said. They ended up moving Tartaglione out 3 weeks before, but who the hell knows what's going on here? That's the type of stuff, rather than Comer deposing Hillary Clinton, that I want them focused on. You know what I also want to focus on? I've talked to you about the connections of Howard Lutnick. Remember in 2005, Howard Lutnick, Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary now, he lived next to Epstein. He bought his townhouse from Epstein. Then remember, he gave an interview recently from the New York Post, Miranda Devine, who's a New York Post writer. And he said that he's never spoken to Epstein since he purchased the house in 2005. He said Epstein gave him a tour of Epstein's home. Remember, you have Lutnick's home, Epstein's home side by side. Lutnick said Epstein gave a tour of Epstein's home. And then Lutnick said that He went in there, was grossed out by Epstein, never returned after seeing Epstein that one time. Well, we know through all the emails that Lutnick went to the island. Seems that he went to the island, brought his kids to the island, told Epstein, I've got a 12-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 9-year-old. My friend has a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old. He was telling Epstein all of these things. Then they seemed to confirm that they were there. They were talking about nannies. Epstein gave $50,000 for an award that Howard Lutnick received in 2017. But now they seem to have been in business together. These additional documents were now uncovered. You see these documents that they both signed right there? There was a company called Adfin right here. And look over here, you have Lutnick signing as a business partner purchaser, and you've got Epstein signing as a purchaser on the Series A preferred stock purchase agreement for the company Adfin. And this deal was signed shortly after the island visit took place. And you may go, well, maybe they don't know each other. Well, maybe they didn't know that there was lots of investors. And so how would they know? They were just visiting each other on the island, it seems, together at the same time. At least that's what my opinion is based on what those documents say. And so, that's the status of it. I'll let you judge for yourself, but I'm glad that Bill Clinton's doing what he's doing. Call him out. Call him out. And Bill, you have questions you have to answer. And I'm glad that you're saying you want to go under oath. And now a precedent has been set that Donald Trump's going to have to testify under oath one day because Bill Clinton said he was going to do it. That's why Trump's scared. Anyway, everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.